Look at that, and where is the first Mini? Yes, some way back. As you can see, a mass of Minis. You're going to see Minis also racing tomorrow in their own dedicated race. Look out for American muscle against British handling.
Well,
I think
that
it's probably
Studebaker is quite something, isn't it? It had a win in Goodwood, didn't it? That particular car, surprising quite a lot of people.
Here we go. We have our grid here. And yeah, that Studebaker is, Andrew, go on, tell us more. I mean, it's a wonderful car.
Yeah, so I think they built very few of them. They also built them in Australia, and I think they raced in the Bathurst.
As Studebakers or as Holdens?
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? I'm not sure, to be honest, but they certainly raced in Australia. And also there's Dave Coyne. That
Eighth on the grid, fantastic.
Yeah, and Wilmot and Farmer, that's the Studebaker we were talking about. Adrian Wilmot, former Spanish GT champion. Roy Alderslade, who had a very good result in the Cobra at Donington a few weeks ago, together with Andrew Jordan, and finished second in that big race there. Mark Sumpter, we just mentioned.
Attard, great sponsor of
with Tom Ingram, another BTCC driver.
With Tom Ingram, absolutely.
Yeah,
and Marco Attard, the owner of the Calais wine store.
Yes, indeed.
And a great sponsor of British touring cars.
Yes, and then we're going through here.
Paddy Shovelin there in 14th place.
Yeah, he's a big property developer, isn't he, Paddy?
Yeah,
he builds student accommodation. Jason Minshaw.
Very much Mr. Demon Tweaks nowadays.
Yes.
Richard Dutton there in 20th place. Richard, one of the biggest team owner and operators in junior single-seater racing in Britain and Europe.
In 2012, they ran 23 drivers in 6 different race series.
Wow.
They don't do that anymore quite, but Richard Dutton's a great character as well.
22nd on the grid, someone called Tiff Needell, which name will be familiar to many. It's lovely to see Tiff out here enjoying himself. He's got a couple of drives this weekend.
He's racing with John Spears, who got an interesting story, and he represented England in croquet. Now there's a rare fact for you.
That's a proper rare fact. And there can't be many championship-winning croquet players who are currently racing in touring cars.
Yeah, he runs a company called Best Investment, and it had a lot of success in the city as John Spears. Really nice man. Had a good chat with him this morning.
That's Phil Hall on 31st, and he's been out racing a Formula One car. So, that's the one that stopped, sadly. And as we get towards the back of the grid, Peter Ratcliffe, legends in time.
Another big name there, Nigel Greenstall, of course.
Yes.
Races so many different cars and runs a fleet of those VW Fun Cup cars.
Nigel also an extremely good driver coach, and he's very good at working with owners of historic cars.
He's obviously had a problem because he's right at the back.
Yeah, so it must have been.
There's actually gold and white Studebaker.
Yes.
And I'm just trying to remember who.
It's nice to see, Andrew, now, isn't it, that people are painting their Cortinas different colours. Not all of them trying to pretend to be Jim Clark.
Or pretending to be an Alan Mann car, of course.
Yes, that's
another thing they do.
Yes. But this is a proper grid, and there, the red car there, I'm trying to make sure we've covered everybody. I see Mark Hales is sharing with Alan Ross Jones. Mark Hales, very well-known British journalist, covered motorsport for many years.
Worked very closely with Nick Mason, did a marvellous sport with Nick Mason, having driven all his cars.
Yes, that's right indeed, and been lucky enough to race.
His other passion is flying boats.
Yes, well, he's always liked an aeroplane. We've got a Galaxy out there as well, haven't we? Or is it a Falcon?
Or is it a Falcon?
I think it's a Falcon.
Galaxy.
People used to race. Yes, there we are. Chris Clarkson and David Smithers in a Ford Falcon Sprint. Look out for that car, number 73. Those two have been racing cars with Masters for 15 years now.
Yeah, Falcons also were a rally car briefly. Can you
There's a
that?
Falcon. The black car there is the Julian Thomas Callum Lockie Falcon. Very nicely prepared. Julian Thomas likes his cars to be black. The Cobra you will see in Gentleman Drivers tomorrow. We hope you'll join us again tomorrow for a full day of racing from what is meant to be a sunny Brands Hatch tomorrow.
I'm sure it will be, Chris.
Have to watch with us on this live stream. Please don't try and come to Brands Hatch. We are asked to point out unless you already have a ticket, because the government limits on the numbers, then we are fully sold out. Here we go, coming up to the line then, another Masters rolling start. The pace car will pull off into the pit lane, and it will be Soper against, we think, Fenn, or is Jay Kill driving it?
We're not sure who's starting it.
Here we go. Here we go. And in a mighty roar that comes through our commentary position. Lots of American V8 muscle and lots of British twin cam.
Yeah, well, we don't know if it's Soper or man starting either, do we? Have we got that information yet? We're probably going to come through in a moment. And maybe timing and scoring, no.
The Studebaker's lost out big
about
time.
5 Lotus Cortinas all side by side.
Yes, giving him a bit of a actually, he's got a problem because he's dropping back and dropping back and dropping back.
2 Mustangs together at the front, though.
And the first of the minis there, the 2 red minis are mixing it in there. Brandstad's very much a mini track if you can. There really isn't a lot of room there at the moment.
I think I saw Davis diving through as well and picking up a spot. Great American grunt V8 noise there.
Yes, so we got 5 big V8s in the front runners there. Car number 9, that is Craig Davis there in the red and gold one between the 2. The stripy one, and then really is, and that's, I think that's the Jewel and Klukas car.
Yeah, I think it is,
Hard to see from where we were, but I think that's right. He really has set off at a great lick, haven't they?
Yeah.
So the American muscle at the moment, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, before we come to the first of the Cortinas.
It was a bit like that in period, really.
That's a proper 6 Cortinas. Oh my Lord! Look at this, Andrew, as they come down into clearways for the first time.
Where's the first mini? Look, getting stuck in.
Yes, the Studebaker, I'm afraid, has had a rotten first lap and dropped way down the field. But look at this; it is all going to get very hectic for a while. 40 leads number 4, and so that's the Letts family, Alan and Jeffrey, in the number 40 car, and in car number 4 is, I suspect, Tom Ingram rather than Marco Attard at the moment.
I would have thought so.
Yes, that's right. Giving it plenty. Mark Sumter in the pale blue, number 77, and in 34 is Sean Balfe. Sean Balfe himself, a regular British GT racer and competitive in many, many different classes. Car 333 is Nick Padmore, in noted historic racer and the fastest man ever round Goodwood, and he is the first of the minis. Nick Padmore in the red mini with the car 33 with the number 333 on the side.
Ingram, a former runner-up in the British Touring Car Championship all those years with Toyota, but now racing Hyundai this season. And Tom really enjoys this historic racing as well. And all the cars so different, but super competitive, of course, as you would expect. Well, we're seeing in the timing and scoring here, it says stop, so unfed, so maybe it's...
Yeah, I think we have got...
yeah, I think that's probably right.
Soper in the car to begin with. Oh dear,
Lotus Cortina pulling off.
I'm afraid we're going to have trouble identifying that car for you, because there are about 6 Lotus Cortinas in that colour.
In a bit, won't
we'll pick that up in a minute.
Yeah, it's not. It could be the Letts car, actually, that.
Yeah, well, he's got up and walked away. And he... Well,
yeah, I think that's the Alan and Jeffrey Letts car that has stopped.
Now, I don't know if 192 there is being driven by Callum Lockie at the moment, or whether that is being driven by Julian Thomas. But my goodness me, that Falcon drifting its way round Druids. Suddenly those rear tyres look very narrow, don't they?
They do,
when they're carrying that much horsepower.
Well, I was around, because, you know, I've got a bit of track record, when these American cars first came into what was called the British Saloon Car Championship, because until then they were dominated by Jaguars.
Yes, absolutely.
Mark 3.2 or 3.8 Mark II Jaguars
were
the car to beat, and suddenly these
Dan Gurney appeared.
Yeah, in the Galaxy originally, huge, great Galaxy, and then obviously subsequently mainly the Falcons actually came along.
Well, the Falcons were brought over to Europe, weren't they, to compete in a very unlikely way in the Monte Carlo
Rally. Pussy Lungfelt was one of the star drivers, I seem to remember, and they had special lightweight panels on them and were homologated that way. Well, I think they look absolutely mighty, don't you? I love the shape. Look at that, hanging the tail out, dabbing the brakes, and getting all out of shape. And what a cracking race this is. But,
Callum Lockie, I think you'll find that is at the wheel there. Yeah. And he and the owner, Julian Thomas, have come together in a number of Masters Series to make a real impact. And Callum is a very good driver coach. He runs the Gold Track Driving Club, as it were, for his weekday job. Spends a lot of time on track, BRDC member, former British GT champion.
And hot from last weekend, winning in the E-Type with Julian. And also, did he win? I'm not sure, but he raced a March 717 Can-Am car last weekend as well. 2 races.
Silverstone.
I think he might have won 3 races actually.
Last
weekend. Yeah, Callum. And always a great interview.
Yes.
You can always get plenty out of Callum Lockie, I can tell you that.
And that Dave Coyne then is now up to 4th in the white Mustang with the stripes on it.
Yeah, he's a boy to watch. Checkered career, really, Coyne. I mean, not the physique of a lot of the people he raced against, being polite, and you know, always a big character. As I said,
he was hot in Ford 2000, wasn't he?
Yeah, was quick in Formula 3000 as well, you know, Dave Coyne. But he was one of those. He was a nearly man. But it's great, and he went away from racing for a while, and then he came back on the short ovals, and then back into historic car racing.
He did those short ovals, did he?
I hope to get an interview with him. We just missed him, unfortunately. We'll catch up with him maybe at the next broadcast. But, and that's one of the great things about this historic racing. We've got all kinds of different drivers, some with great racing histories, some young kids that we've seen like Halusa going so well today. Yeah. And then some guys that just, you know, gentlemen drivers, but a lot of them, you know, with huge skill sets. Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing, and I think that's what always impresses the young professional drivers of the day, isn't it? They jump into one of these cars and think, well, I'll be able to beat all these fat old blokes, and it doesn't often turn out like that.
The Soperman, of course, long career as a factory driver, mainly for BMW. He won the Japanese Touring Car Championship one year. All of the flames coming out of the back of that Mustang. Burning a bit of fuel there. And it looks like number 4, but it's number 74.
Excuse me,
Coyne.
yes. Yeah.
And Coyne might not be. I think he might be about to mount a challenge, hadn't he, on the Fen Hill car. Unnoticed, because by us, Lockie Thomas car moved past the Fen Hill car.
Yes.
And see what happens when the driver switches.
Yes, so this is, just as a reminder, a wonderful scrap happening at the front at the moment. Yeah. But we have to remember it is an endurance race. Yeah. And as touring car racing could be in its day, all Pre-66 cars, and there will be a pit window.
We got the move then, and Coyne going for it. Goes down the inside.
Oh.
No, Coyne not quite able to get past.
Not quite.
Rob Fenn, we think it is, in that car.
So the pit window will be between 20 and 40 minutes of this 1 hour race. Have to do the driver change. It's not how fast you can do it, just for safety reasons and make sure everybody's properly belted in and everything else. It's a 1 minute stop.
I wonder why that Coyne car is showing so much flames. The other Mustangs are not doing that.
Yes,
I think fueling it a bit.
I think probably the answer is the preparer would rather you didn't ask that question.
Yeah. Well, there it is for all to see on the screen.
That's right. So who is the first of the Cortinas then?
That's a good question. Yeah, Sumter is
I think it is Mark Sumter, isn't it? Yeah. In car 77. Yeah. I think has got himself just clear of the mad squabbling battle of Cortinas that is a little further down the grid, because the V8 cars are first, second, third, fourth and fifth.
Oh, hanging the tail out there. Mark Sumter got a good racing background, won the Silverstone 24 Hours, amongst other things, over the years, and raced Porsche 962s, and recently won a championship called the 2.0 litre Cup, which I think is just for Porsches.
Right.
He won that just a couple of years ago.
Oh yes, well indeed. I mean, that's a very nice little championship which runs in Europe very much, and everything is a Pre-66 Porsche 911.
Right.
Can't be more than 2 litres. Oh, I just wondered if the Lockie car was looking a bit smoky there.
I'll say that Lockie put the...
That's definitely Soper.
Yeah.
Henry Mann is quick, but that's definitely a Soper style there.
Yeah, he had a BMW dealership, didn't he, for a while, Steve Soper?
Well, he did, of course, famously towards the end of his current career, drive BMW, the beautiful McLaren BMW factory car in BMW factory colours, 97 in that GT World Championship, and then he drove the Williams-built open BMW V12 prototype.
Had a big shunt at was it Road Atlanta or Sebring? Sebring.
Sebring, I think,
I saw that. Yeah, Sebring.
And that would be 98, 99.
Yeah, and he really didn't.
He didn't come back after that for a long time. Yeah, that's right. But I mean, he was sharing that car in '97. Steve Soper was sharing that car in '97 with JJ Leto.
Yeah.
And he was as quick as Leto, no trouble at all. Leto was fresh out of Grand Prix at the time, and at one stage had been the great Finnish star of the future, hadn't he? Soper is proper quick.
Yeah. When I first saw him racing, he was in a Fiat X19, which is a rather strange sports car. That's how he started, I think. Well, nice shot there, working at the wheel, and...
do you know?
Yeah. You looking at the face?
I'm looking at the face, and I'm wondering, because it's being very, very aggressively driven, but you do have to remember it is a 1-hour race, and these tyres and all that horsepower. Of course, the thing is, Andrew, that these big American V8s in these touring cars at the time.
Lotus Cortina locking up there. Is that the first Mini? Just seeing.
Yes, there we go. Yeah. And that is Nick Padden. But the V8s in period were running about 340 brake. These cars are now running 440, 450 brake. And whereas the Cortinas have not been able to make that much of an increase. It is an elegant car. That's Paddy Shovlin there, and he's sharing the car with Michael Cullen.
Michael Cullen, one of the stars of Irish racing, and been very successful at Mondello Park. He's had a lot of victories at Mondello Park in the past, has Cullen.
Right. Yes, I've seen the name. I have made the connection.
Raced in the very successful actually in the Ferrari, challenge, the European series for Ferraris.
Yes.
Whereas I think Shovlin also raced in that as well.
Well, it's great to see people diversifying a little bit and having that. Yes, that's right. That's where the name rings a bell from. Very quick in the European Ferrari Challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty car that, number 68. Michael Cullen and Paddy Shovlin from Ireland in the pale blue Lotus Cortina.
Interesting story about Cullen. He pretended to be Michael Schumacher for a Shell advert driving round Monaco. So Shell did a big TV commercial of Michael Schumacher driving around Monaco, and it was actually Cullen who was driving the car.
Wow, yes. Well, and there was, in that same famous Shell TV commercial for Ferrari and Shell, Rob Hall of Hall & Hall was playing the role of Jackie Ickx, driving the 312 1970 Grand Prix car. I want to say through the streets of Rome, I think that one was. And there was also a sequence shot in the streets of Rio de Janeiro.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
very, very good
big
stuff.
Big budget film. Now this is the Cortina battle we've got going on here at the moment. Lots of famous names in there. Richard Dutton has worked his way up, I see. Car number 9.
Just see that retired is the Ian Curley Solis, 2 big names for mini racing, or club mini racing. That car is in the pits. Sadly.
Yes, here,
Bill
number
Solis,
46.
Bill Solis,
Bill Solis, I think that is.
It is,
And how frustrating that looks as though, and we have the 6 car. Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Soper's gone.
Gone out.
Yeah, and it was Henry.
It was Henry, yeah.
It was Henry.
Well, he was doing a great job.
He was doing a fantastic job. I can see the Masters team down there at the pit lane, but that is our lead driver, our lead car.
This isn't. Are we in the window?
No, no,
I
no.
just saw another Mustang come in.
We
I don't think we're in the window, are we?
We're not in the window. We're only 15 minutes into the race. No, that is, we've missed the. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We were following some of the other cars, and the great moment have the loss of the leader with an obvious mechanical problem.
The Fen Hill car is now in the lead with Dave Coyne second. The Thomas Lockie car is third, and then it's Tom Ingram and Marco Attard, and then Sumpter.
How come those two have got past the Thomas Lockie Black Falcon?
Yeah,
the two Mustangs.
Because stuff like this is going on all around the track. That's how.
Look at
new
that.
fastest lap from the Lockie Thomas car, because it's dropped into the 48s, which no one else has thus far. In fact, second faster than anybody else.
Well,
anyway, a long way to go yet. So you go. And Alderslade driving with Andrew Jordan, Roy Alderslade. I mean, he's only done a couple of seasons in Ginetta racing, but he's certainly going quickly. Essex.
Here we go. Here we have the what is now the first 3. Absolutely nose to tail. And with a Cortina in there as well.
What's that Cortina doing? That's Sumter, is it?
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. Wow, what a struggle, what a battle we have here at Brands Hatch, final race of today.
Seagull ready.
Yeah, Seagull
happy to get out of the way, but for some reason, what should have been the leader inheriting the lead from the retired Steve Soper Henry Mann car has dropped back to third, and he's now. You're quite
another
right.
lock up there for the.
You're quite right.
Yeah, that is the.
Now is that Tom Ingram then?
Is that Tom Ingram?
I think that's Tom Ingram.
That is Tom Ingram. Yeah, that's what it is.
That is Tom Ingram, and he's now going to have a go. He's trying to have a go at the Falcon.
Yeah.
That is a very quick Cortina that has suddenly got himself up there. Very impressive drive indeed. And a big slip and a moment there by the Fen.
Fen,
Yep.
In the lead, makes a big mistake.
Big mistake. Lost 100 metres just in a flash there. And so we now have Dave Coyne in the lead.
Yeah.
With
Not
Callum
for long.
Lockie. Whoa. And was it, I mean, obviously something happened in the traffic.
Well, that's Callum Lockie.
That got them.
I think, our time in score is showing Thomas at the wheel. Well, and he is as quick as Lockie.
Yeah.
He is quick.
Julian Thomas got it, but look at the Cortina. I mean, I'm really impressed. Tom Ingram really giving it everything. And there's a proper racer's line, isn't it?
Yeah, well, now they're going to start lapping some of the back markers. Should be fairly interesting, I would have thought.
And Fen and Jake Hill are now going to try and catch up again.
Well,
whoa! He's actually got the Cortina into second place momentarily. That won't last on the pit straight, will it?
Wow, what a struggle, what a battle this is. These touring cars.
You're showing the wrong person the blue flag. Oh, sorry, that was for the other. Whoa, straight back past.
Look at the power. That's American brute horsepower.
Lots of flaming exhaust. There's the man in the blue and gold Mustang is hoping against hope he's kept out of the way. Tom Ingram flinging it up into the corner here.
And I suppose for newer motorsport fans, we should add that back in the day with those Lotus Cortinas, Jim Clark would come to a race meeting. He'd race in the Formula One race, which wouldn't be a Grand Prix, and then he'd probably drive the Lotus 30 as it gets really out of shape with the Lotus Cortina, and then he'd race the Lotus Cortina as well.
Yep.
About 3 or 4 races you might drive in a day.
Yes.
But it was always more spectacular Lotus Cortina than anything else, really.
It was a great wheel waver, wasn't it?
Yeah, great wheel waver.
Yes. Front wheel up in the air. Jim Clark could make everything and anything go fast. but it was a remarkable feature of the day that you could pay your money and quite often run a Formula 2 race as well as a Formula 1 race, a sports car race and a touring car race.
So John Whitmore, another quick guy in a Lotus Cortina. And a lot of the Lotus people, the Peter Arundels of this world, got to drive on occasion.
And indeed a Lotus driver, a Formula 1 driver of that period, who was racing in Masters with his saloon car until very recently, when he decided he really was retired, was Jackie Oliver. Le Mans winner. And he just, like Steve Soper was saying in that interview you did with him, just couldn't give it up. He just absolutely loved it. But you know, now Julian Thomas and Callum Lockie now have got the biggest lead we've seen. I mean, 100 yards or so.
Just put in a 1:48.064. That's the fastest lap thus far of this race.
And Pole had been with Steve Soper's lap 1:46.5. So I think the track is probably...
the Studebaker's in the pits, and that's a disappointment. We thought that car might be featuring in this battle, but wasn't to be today.
Yes, Adrian Wilmot finding that still a few bugs to shake out of that car, perhaps.
Out of the way, mate.
Yes.
That's the 88 car there.
That's Smithies, I think, isn't it? No, that's Martin Melling at the moment. That's the car that will be driven either later in this race or tomorrow by Jason Minshaw, yes indeed. And Martin Melling enjoys his racing, but not, as he would say, not World Championship material. But I think he just managed to keep out of the way, didn't he?
He did, only just though.
Only just.
I know Richard Dutton just moved up to third place, the Fortec team owner. And
third place in his class, you know?
Yeah.
In the Cortina class, if you like. Yes, I mean, this is a proper battle at the front, isn't it? Fantastic stuff. And you, hats off to Tom Ingram in the number 4 car there. I mean, he's actually taken.
How did he do that?
Beautiful. How did he manage? He drifted round the outside and into Sterling's, completely sideways on. That's wonderful car control. Wonderful car control. And it really rather proves, doesn't it, that what looks sometimes from the outside in BTCC, modern racing, as though it's all bump and bash in level pegging cars, these guys know how to drive. And that, look, I mean, he's drawn out a 100-metre lead straight away. And now the American V8s are going to come,
well, this time they didn't have quite another lock up there from the front.
Front and rear, quite stylish. I mean, look at this. This is proper stuff. They dropped down a little bit, maybe, the red car after that terrible mistake. But Fenn and what will be Jake Hill caught up again. Everybody is getting a little bit sideways now. I'm not sure if there's any oil down on the track or whether it's just that. It's just the heat of the day, and the tyres are beginning to. If there is to be a pit stop and anyone needs to do something, we are now inside what I'm pretty sure is the pit window. 36 minutes to run.
I guess the drivers who've got the pros in alongside them will probably come in early, won't they? They won't probably split the race half and half. Yeah,
I think if you're an owner and you've got to put someone quick into the car, but you must admit at the front, clearly the decision was to put the quick man in. Tom Ingram is sharing the car with Marco Attard.
And he'll probably take it the full 40 minutes to the window, to the end of the window, won't he, I would think.
I would imagine. No, this is spectacular stuff. And we do hope you're enjoying it. Some wonderful camera work too. And Brands Hatch has never looked greener.
No, it hasn't. No. Just to say that because Coyne is going the whole distance. So
he's doing the whole thing with no change, isn't he?
So
he certainly knows he's in a race, doesn't he?
He certainly does. There, a great shot there of the Fenn Hill car. And of course, Fenn and Hill, Fenn owns the cars. Well, their father, I believe, owned the cars. They've got a lovely Lotus Elan they race as well, which
Oh,
Jake Hill had a marvellous victory at Silverstone in 2 or 3 years ago. Here we've got Minis hard at it.
That's the 33 car there is being, that's the Page family, Jonathan and Matthew Page, in their very nice pale green car. And 155 is Nathan Heathcote in his car. That's the car number 155. Both Morrises. It was always hard to tell the difference between a Morris Mini Cooper and an Austin Mini Cooper, wasn't it?
And then you had the odd people racing the ones with the boot on the back, the Riley Elves.
The Riley Elf.
The Wolsey Hornets.
Yes.
Remember our broadcasting friend Mark Cole? He raced, I think, a Riley Elf.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes,
there they are. Those two, the Page brothers and Heathcote, are running 16th and 17th overall, and in their mini class, they are second and third only to the. I'm looking for our mini leader.
Now, what we should mention, look who's now moved up to 11th from the back of the grid, Nigel Greensall.
Nigel Greensall from the back of the grid in car number 99. And you'll see that car, Ford Mustang. That's a yellow Ford Mustang. Look out for a yellow Ford Mustang. Worked his way up through the field.
He's going to find it a bit more difficult now, though, because the people are lapping a similar speed.
There it is.
Caught up,
excellent pick up there by the camera crew.
The yellow car.
The yellow Mustang there. And he's leading Martin, number 79, in another Lotus Cortina, as you can see.
The Spears Nidell car has moved up. Well, where did that qualify? It's in 14th place now.
The Spears Nidell car was down in 22nd place.
So that's
at the
a good.
start.
I presume that Tiff's at the wheel there.
So that's a very yellow, isn't it?
It's a very yellow, isn't it? That's bumblebee yellow, could we call it?
And so there.
We should be able to, we should be able to see Tiff's crash helmet. It's quite distinctive, isn't it?
Yes, it is indeed. And I'm just trying to see where they're running. So he's in 14th place. I think Spears is at the wheel of that at the moment. And here we go. That's a saddening. Yeah, we can adjust that for you, chap. They're saying. But that's going to be a little hot in there.
Yeah. Beautifully prepared, that car though. Look.
That's Jonathan Lewis there.
Oh, Jonathan Lewis,
from very much the Snetterton man. Jonathan used to run the Comtech race team.
Yeah, but Formula Renaults and all that.
And right up to the big Spanish, what do we call the Spanish Formula? Formula Nissan, what I'm trying to say. Formula Super Renault it became, didn't it? Now, we are in pit stops now, so everybody checking to make sure, marshals and the master staff there, keeping an eye on everything, making sure that everyone does their proper pit stop and all within the pit window. We're about halfway through the race now, 32 minutes to run, and so halfway through the pit stop window, which everybody must stop, even if they're driving solo. And not changing, I mean.
Lockie and Thomas pulled out 4.6 seconds now. After this tight battle we had at the front, suddenly the Thomas and Lockie car in the lead. And
so, I mean, we should go back and see what is happening at the front of the field there with the Ingram Coyne Sumpter battle.
Julian Thomas, a very interesting man, big in the world of global GPS, and was also responsible for the drag reduction system of Formula One cars. He was the brains behind that.
Was it indeed, to make it work?
He's telling me these days with more and more satellites up there, with global positioning, you're getting within 3 or 4 inches, centimetres, if you like, of being able to position people and know where they are. So, get a chip on your dog, you know where it is.
And here we are, talk of the devil, there's the man himself. And that now has got, what, a 4.5 second lead over the Tom Ingram Cortina.
Is the Fen Hill.
This looks to be just the pit stop. He's got to do his pit stop. Look, Gov, we're showing you the clock. Don't worry. We know when to let you out. A little bit of water dribbling out of the radiator at the front of the Mustang.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit worrying, isn't it? Mind you, I suppose it's in the pits, so that probably just, a seep going on.
Of course, the other thing, Andrew, that's a feature, isn't it, of this historic racing is that the cars are so much more reliable now than they were in the period.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Everything used to break and stall and have a problem. He's still at it. I mean, he's really, really, really driving hard, isn't he?
Well,
Tom Ingram.
Andrew Jordan's probably getting into the 72 car now. I've got to say, the two Irishmen, Cullen and Chauvelin doing really well up there in the top 10. They'll be pleased with that. Just nice to listen to the front of the V8s, isn't it, going through there, and then obviously the 4-cylinder engine in the Lotus Cortina. I mean, I had a Lotus Cortina, Chris, and
but it was just such a great plan by Ford, wasn't it, to go to Colin Chapman and say, make our cars sexy. We want to win saloon car races, but we also want to sell lots of them. And I mean, that's what everybody longed for, wasn't it? Was to have.
Pretty busy down in the pits now. Look.
Yes.
There's the 74. Just.
That's Dave.
Yeah. There's 70.
Coming out of the lead, he's got to be very patient now. Just behind him, a rare car nowadays in historic racing, that's Harry Mailer's BMW 1800 Ti. He's some way down the field.
They would have raced in period against these cars, but more in Europe, I think.
Absolutely. In Europe, you'd see more BMWs and Alfa Romeos. And indeed, when Masters runs more in Europe, Coyne is off and out again.
Yeah, those are incredible.
So just temporarily, the process has broken up a little bit. There is Coyne coming out of the pit right now. And we're going to have to now wait and see how it all cycles through.
So Ingram is staying out. Lockie Sumter, the Balfe car, has moved up. That's in the pits. The Andrew Jordan Alderslade car is in the pits. The Taylor Greensall car, Page and Padmore, right up the field there in the pits, in the Mini. So this has got to work its way out now, hasn't it?
Yes. The Coyne straight back on it again and past a couple of the other back markers, including the red Mustang there.
Well, I think this could be the excitement, could it see Dave Coyne coming back up?
Well, that's him now, not far behind.
He's got to cycle through those pit stops, haven't it? Then we see where we are.
There's still 7 minutes left on the pit window.
Yeah, and they're leaving Ingram out, aren't they? But I don't know. Attard, a lot of success in the past in Ferrari sort of racing, hasn't he? And other things, but he's not on the same pace as Ingram. Whereas Lockie and Thomas are quite well matched, I think. Sumter's obviously just driving himself.
There we go.
There we are. There's a 192.
Yeah.
So, is that Callum at the wheel now? I think so.
Yes, I think so too. He's saying, don't move, don't move.
There
now
he goes.
go.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so there you go. And so it is now Marco Attard is going to be in car number 4, I think.
And here's the big Falcon rumbling up the pit lane and blending into the track there at Paddock Hill Bend.
Nicely prepared car, isn't it? And there, indeed, there is Dave Coyne.
Who's fully up to speed, so he might be able to catch him up at Druids, hadn't he?
Well, not by going off like that. He got all excited there. And the other quick Cortina is now on it as well, Mark Sumter. But has Mark been in? Oh, he's on his outlap as well.
Yeah, he's on outlap as well.
So he's on his outlap right on top of Coyne. Oh.
Well, I think we're going to have a cliffhanger. We've got 26 minutes to go. I mean, it's,
And Richard Dutton, I think, has... Richard Dutton's on his outlap as well. And that's him in the cream and green car number 3. So he's up to 5th place.
Yep.
And so the Jake Hill Fenn car has dropped to 6th as a result of the shuffle. Then it's Sean Balfe's car, number 34, is next up in 7th place. and then Roy Alderslade in the Jordan prepared car, and then the Irish guys.
Yeah, I think they've got a problem. See something on the timing screen.
It
Maybe
looks
they have.
like they're stopped somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So here we're looking now at the battle behind this car.
Coyne is really flinging it around. He always was a bit of an elbows out driver, wasn't he?
There we go.
Yeah, Team Lotus written down the side of it. And,
this has been the leader.
Yep.
This is Tom Ingram. Now we presume that Marco Attard is now in the car, and he's got to get out again just as these guys are coming up. In fact, as he comes out, this will dictate as the Falcon thunders across the line. Now we've got to see where is the Cortina, and he's not out of the pit lane.
He's not out of the pit lane yet. And so,
in fact, he's going to get swamped by everybody else.
Yeah.
There he is. That's him coming out of the pit lane now, and he's just lost 4 or 5 places. Yeah, the pit stops didn't work out for the Jake Hill Marco Attard team, I'm afraid.
And I see that the presumably now with Callum Lockie at the wheel, 192 is just putting the fastest lap of the race thus far. The 1:48.064. So Callum on it.
That's getting very tight.
Yeah. Now, what's the Fen Hill car going to do? I mean, it's all pretty close, Chris. I mean,
well,
the first 6 are only covered by 6 seconds.
Well, yeah. Covered by a pocket handkerchief.
Yeah.
Proper stuff. I tell you
all
what.
Over him like a Chinese suit.
Yes. Murray used to really get annoyed when Hunt said that.
Yeah, I know. He did.
All over him like a sheep suit. Oh, stop it. So, I tell you what, I think the top 12, I mean, most of the people have done their pit stops now.
Yeah, I think...
23 minutes to go, and this is the battle that we're looking at here.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody, certainly amongst the front runners, that hasn't stopped.
No, we're all there. I'm really impressed by Richard Dutton, gave himself a very proper pit stop there.
I'm just seeing on the timing screen, it's just saying Alderslade. So does that
maybe he's doing it all by himself?
Yeah, maybe Andrew Jordan isn't driving that car today. He was certainly entered in it. He certainly prepares it.
I saw his father, Mike Jordan.
Yeah.
And you know, the two of them have done a great job building up that business.
Yes, because they built up one business, sold it, and of course built up another one now.
And they've built a lot of race cars for a lot of customers. They've got a lot of very happy people. And nicely, the Duke of Richmond makes Andrew Jordan one of the team captains at the members' meeting.
Oh, yeah.
In the spring. Well, it won't be in the spring this year. It'll be in October. He recognises what an impact the Jordans have had on the historic scene.
Yeah. Well, we got the Thomas Lockie, the black one. He's got 5 seconds on the rest of the battling field.
Yes.
And as I said, just banged in the fastest lap of the race thus far. And Julian Thomas certainly knows how to go racing. So, as we said, look at that. He's going to have the corner, isn't he?
I think he's got the line.
Yeah.
Well done, sir.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, well...
That's Jake Hill now,
That's Jake Hill now. That's the current British touring car driver. At the top of his game. I have to say, for Jake, it was a real struggle to get a drive, and the family haven't got huge amounts of money.
Yeah.
And although Simon got a lot of contacts, his dad, it was really difficult to get him in there.
Yeah.
And
he was a proper quick peddler.
Yeah. And some people had faith in him.
Yeah.
And Simon was hustling around trying to get sponsorship and get him a last-minute drive over there. Now he's finally made it. One of the top boys in the British Touring Car Championship, but also enjoying himself in this and a lot of other. He's got a very full program of racing now. And
getting a little over-enthusiastic there.
Well, and you can drive it. But the thing is, you can drive these cars like that and get away with it, can't you? You know, look at that. That's what people. you know, things like seeing people sideways like that's what got me interested in motor racing, isn't
exactly.
it?
Exactly. Beautifully driven. Dave Coyne. Oh, it's getting very, very tight there. Richard Dutton enjoying that.
I'm impressed by how quickly Richard Dutton's going. You know.
Well, you know, when he first started historic racing, I went to the Fortec factory, and there, as you say, lines, rows and rows of Formula 3, Formula 4, all sorts of cars, Formula Renaults, all sorts. But Richard said, no, I really want to get into this historic racing. I'm going to build a racing Cortina. So he did that, and he used to share it with a well-known builder of Honda Formula 3 engines, Neil Brown himself, from Neil Brown of Neil Brown Racing Engines fame. And the two of them raced together. They had a Mustang as well. But I think they then decided they both wanted to race, so Neil Brown took to racing the Mustang, and Richard stuck to the Cortina. And he's really, really enjoyed it.
I mean, it's right up.
And turned himself into a proper historic driver. And I mean, whoa, I mean, that's tight stuff. And Mark Sumpter's not giving them any peace either.
No, it's not.
In the pale blue Cortina. But Marco Attard is now dropping back a little bit.
Oh, look, he goes and spins around.
Richard, we're so busy telling you what a great job you were doing.
And lucky to get away, though. His heartbeat's gone up a bit. About 150, I should think, now.
That would have done his circulation lots of good. Richard Dutton there, very exciting moment. And tell you what, Andrew, it's just as well he missed the end of the pit lane, because that's the bit you don't want. So sadly, that's rather broken up the...
it has, yes.
Broken up the battle, but I think Sumpter is now going to try and close in a little bit on Jake Hill. But Jake Hill will know exactly what needs to be done. Some wonderful, wonderful camera work here, allowing us to see what it's really like to drive a historic touring car.
What a spectacle this has turned out to be, hasn't it? I mean, with the Falcons, just so disappointed really to see the Soper car drop out.
Yes. But they did look as though they were going to disappear into the distance with it. So this has certainly leveled things up a little bit.
There's that 99 car again that's battled its way up through the field.
And this is Colin Sauter in the red Mustang, who we saw in the previous race. Colin was out there in the Endurance Legends.
I think Callum's still on it. Another fastest lap.
So you see, that's a great advert for someone enjoying historic racing. Colin Sauter there can race the touring car, but he's also got his GT3 Ferrari, which he had in the Endurance Legends. Mind you, he's probably feeling the heat a little bit now, isn't it? Having done them in consecutive runs. Actually, he's come from a long way back on the grid, you know, Andrew. Yeah, I mean, he was right at the back. He probably didn't have much time to get a lap in while he was doing everything else. The two minis enjoying themselves.
I mean, Jake Hill closing up a little bit. It took a little bit of time out to the Lockie car that lap. I think he might get on terms again, you know, before the end of this. We've still got 17 minutes remaining. And Dave Coyne, he's had his period in the lead, didn't he? But now Dave Coyne has dropped back a fair way. He's 8 seconds off the lead. And the gap at the moment still quite handsome.
And Dutton is dropping down.
Dutton's I think he must have a problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's probably not just frightened himself. I think he's had a problem. And the mini battle is still still going strong.
Page car is in 12th place there. Yeah, I think Dutton, because he only dropped one place when he had the spin, didn't he? Now he's got 4 or 5.
Yes.
But got to be impressed by Roy Alderslade, assuming it is just him driving.
Yeah, I
think his 3rd season of racing, and in among some of the big names. And Sean Balfour's also moved up a bit. And here's
these guys
mini races
are really enjoying themselves.
Remember the days of John Rhodes and John Hanley and Fitzpatrick and all those people racing.
23, the Cortina in front of the 2 minis, is being driven by Mark Owen. And Mark Owen also races a Chevron B8. And
we've got lots of lovely chevrons here this weekend. It was interesting that...
Oh, nicely done. Very nicely done.
In the day, people raced Ford Anglia successfully.
Yes.
They don't seem to...
No, but
is that the 66 bit?
No, it's not. It's the Anglias were never homologated by Ford to be FIA cars.
Oh, that's the reason.
And so lots of people would like to be. I like the man adjusting the mirror there, quite right.
Yeah.
155 there. In 155, that's Nathan Heathcote, and he's still going very well.
Yeah.
They were right up, further up the field at one took but now, obviously, after all the pit stops and so on, they've dropped back a little bit.
See, Lockie's just responded because the last lap, he took some time out of Jake. And Coyne's still in there. And also going very quick to Sumpter. Actually, is down in the low 150s, which is where you need to be. And I think probably the tyres are not quite the way they were when they started now, but these minis giving us some great action.
Andrew, look at that, wonderful stuff. 10-inch wheels on the minis.
Yeah.
So just to remind ourselves, that is the same as the front wheels on the Tyrrell six-wheeler we saw.
Yeah.
It really puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
Just to say, one of those minis got the number plate up to you. Well, it is up to the driver at the end of the day.
Quite right.
So still now the gap is 6 seconds. So Callum earning his money out there.
I've just heard from the pit lane, Andrew, that the reason for the Soper Henry Mann car retiring was no brakes. They just ran out of brakes and just had to stop. And the Ian Curley, Bill Solis car, which we saw in the pit lane earlier on, also no brakes. So
the mini high, wide and handsome was the great Brian Jones.
No, that is another tribute that we should not miss in this broadcast now. For those of you who don't know, a little earlier on this year, the great Brian Jones, the long-time circuit commentator at Brands Hatch over the PA system, died. He'd been ill for some time, but a great man, and there was a wonderful send-off he got, and there will be further tributes, but a real figure at Brands Hatch, and his great phrase was the one Andrew just used, high, wide and handsome, into paddock a little bit.
Yeah, but I did actually watch the funeral on which was a live feed.
Yes.
Obviously we would have gone in different days, but it was very moving.
It was very moving, great man, and a friend to everybody who came to race at Brands Hatch, and particularly a friend to everyone who trained at Brands Hatch in the famous old motor racing stables. And a great commentator. And the other thing Brian did so very well, Brian Jones, was to train drivers in how to speak to a microphone.
Yes, he did.
A much missed figure at Brands Hatch.
Just to say that the last lap, the 166, the second place car, dropped a lot of time. And Coyne would have closed right up on him now when we get to see that. Well, there's still some to that.
Yes, I mean, I'm sure...
Eggshell blue, I would call that, white car.
So, these two are hard at it, but that's the Paddy Shoveling car from Ireland, isn't it? Yes. But I think if we could get back to see the leaders again, we'll be able to see... Lockie has just crossed the line to start the 25th lap, complete the 25th
and now
lap.
he's pulled away.
And he's pulling away a little bit. But we want to see where, you're right, the Jake Hill Fenn car.
Must have a problem.
Here he is. Or the...
Is he running out of brakes? You see, that's... these cars.
There's the leader.
Yeah,
there's the leader coming out of bottom. Mustn't call it bottom bend. Graham Hill bend. Dave Coyne still in second place.
Sumpter third.
And Sumpter up to third in the elegant pale blue Cortina. And so now the red car has just dropped back a little bit, hasn't it? Rob Fenn, who took over from Jake Hill.
Oh, was it? Or was it the other way?
No, I think... Jake Hill took over from Rob Fenn. But it is slowing heavily now, isn't it? And he risks being caught by number 72, Roy Alderslade, in the Cortina, which is coming on up. Mark Sumter there, still pressing on very hard.
Yeah.
And you know, he's not been locking brakes and wearing the tyres too much, has he?
No.
I think he may have enough for a last-minute spurt.
So he's right on the back of Dave Coyne car.
10 minutes to go, just 10 minutes left in this 1 hour Masters Pre-66 touring car race. At what remains a sunny Brands Hatch and a leafy springtime Brands Hatch. And we look forward to a great deal of Masters racing tomorrow. We've still got a little way to go in this race, lots of action all the way down through the field.
Yeah, Dave Coyne is a car dealer in Basingstoke when he's not racing.
Oh, is he nowadays?
I mean, it's funny, you remember him, you know, running the Formula 4, he's 63 years old now, he's still fast, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 63, is he indeed?
Yeah.
It is sad that under the present restrictions, big moment.
That was the Greensill car. All the different lights are flashing in some sort of strange sequence.
Yeah, that's the number 99 car, and I think he probably gave himself a proper fright there.
Yeah.
Oh, look, he's right with him. He's right with him. Sumter is right with Coyne.
Coyne's going to try and chop him off anyway. He doesn't. The grunt got him back in front, didn't it?
Yeah.
But I suspect he's struggling with the brakes. That's what I would think. It'll be interesting to see as they hurtled it down the long straight through Hawthorne Hill and into Hawthorne, so you might outbrake him there. If he's got brake problems, that's one of the places you could tell, because you're coming from a lot of sport. It didn't look like it, did it?
I'm really impressed by Sumter and this car.
Yeah, through Westfield.
It's very nicely prepared.
Yeah.
And being very immaculately driven too. The Hill Rob Fenn car is still there or thereabouts, but now in 4th place.
Yeah.
Alderslade in 5th place. Sean Balfe in number 34 up to 6th. And then the Irishmen, Michael Cullen and Paddy Shovlin.
The Dubliners.
The Dubliners, maybe they'll play us a tune. Up to 7th. And Tom Ingram's co-driver Marco Attard has dropped down a little bit in car number 4. And Nigel Greensill got the 9 car up into 9th place.
Yeah, I think it's Taylor at the wheel now.
And Richard Dutton, I will have to tease him about this afterwards. After that dramatic spin on the entrance, almost to the pit lane, dropped back from competing for the top podium positions down to 10th place.
And how are we doing with the minis?
And the minis, I think the minis overall still being led by the Page Padmore car, number 333, the red car, but not far behind them is Mark Owen. This time, and he's bogged himself down.
He's not coming out of there.
And if he's not coming out of
Coyne
there,
still side by side with Mark Sumter.
But I tell you what, the race director is going to have a very close look at the fact there is someone beached there.
7 minutes to go.
I think they may decide everyone's had enough.
This has been one of the classic battles of the day, hasn't it? Sumter versus Dave Coyne.
It certainly has. And now, where is he in the gravel trap at the Exeter Stirlings, I think, wasn't it?
So.
Which is where he came off last time.
Yeah, and he's not going to get it out of there.
No, he's not.
It's up to the...
Marshall's saying, get out of the car.
Hubcaps, as they say.
Yes, well up to the hubcaps. He wants him out, come on. Whoa, that's exactly what we...
That
why...
could have been terrible. That could have been absolutely terrible.
Please give credit to the boys in orange, the boys and girls in orange. The marshals in British racing do an extraordinary job as the leader comes past the Beach 99 car.
There'll be a bit of yellow waving before
and
then.
I'm waiting to see whether the race director is going to make a decision there, because that is quite a... Yep, safety car board's coming out, and with 6 minutes to go, and that car's going to have to be extracted from some pretty deep... Did you see the squirrel just saved his life there?
Yeah, I saw that squirrel.
He has to be the luckiest squirrel in Kent.
He does. I've done that before. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, the ones you want to look out for is when it's a motorcycle race and a squirrel. So car number 3 is being given Richard Dutton is being given a stop and go for a short pit stop. So this, I suspect, is probably going to be our winner. He's just got to keep going. 5 minutes on the clock, but we are under a safety car, and I think it's going to take a sufficiently long time to get the towing vehicle up to Stirling's in order to be able to get that car moved.
Do you know who prepares that car? Thomas Cars? Julian Thomas's car? So they certainly do a great job, don't they?
They do a fantastic job. Do you know, we'll find out for us, I don't know.
There's the BMW still
blowing
going.
a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
And well done, he's picked up.
Let's have a quick shout out, as they say, for Mark Hales, who's got that car up into 10th place with Ross Jones.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
Nice job, incidentally, by the safety car driver, who has picked out the leader. The only trouble is Dave Coyne. Where's the second place
There's
man?
Coyne. He's got.
There's Coyne as second place man, and Sumter. So he's probably all right. But as we saw in the Masters Endurance Legends, with a safety car out there, you are inclined to get that. Obviously, the field bunches up, and a last-minute surprise did rather undo.
Well, almost undid.
Almost undid
Steve Tandy's efforts.
Yes. Almost undid Steve Tandy's efforts, and for that matter, gave Lucas Halusa in the.
Well, yeah, well, that was that fantastic overtake, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a fantastic overtake on the last corner.
That was a brave move, and congratulations for that.
Yes.
But yeah, I suppose this is going to finish under the safety car, though we did a one-lap final dash, didn't we, earlier on?
Yes, I think if they possibly can. Masters, as a big professional organisation, takes their own race director around the world with them.
Yes.
Richard Quingen Didier, who is Anglo-French, and has a French international clerk of the course ticket, is very experienced working with Masters. And as Ron was saying earlier on, Ron Maiden, the president of Masters, was saying earlier on, the whole thing's got to be fun as well. The racing's serious, but it's got to be fun. And if you can, you try not to stop a race, not to end a race under a safety car.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew, not that we don't want everyone to be watching us, because they will be watching tomorrow, I'm sure, but it's a big weekend of international motorsport. Italian Grand Prix for Moto at Mugello. No better circuit almost anywhere. I love it. And the Indy 500. And you and I have done enough Indy 500s together. And that's not a race you want to finish under yellow.
No, absolutely not. Often does, of course.
And while we're under safety car here at Brands Hatch, your thoughts on the front runners at IndyCar? It looks really tight for the 500, doesn't it?
Yeah, the young Dutch kid.
Yes.
Oh, he's a sensation.
Rinus VK.
VK, which is such a short version of his
Van
name.
Klimphout, isn't it?
He's got to be right there. A few Brits in the field, of course.
Yeah.
And one lady driver this year.
Simona Di Silvestro.
She's starting at the back.
All-female run team.
Because this year they had a few more cars, so a couple of people never made the show.
Yeah.
They didn't make the 33.
Yeah.
And she just scraped in.
She just scraped in, but that's great that
with
she's
a
done.
team that's run by Beth Peretta, who used to be in charge of the Chrysler motorsport program at one stage.
Yes.
But,
yes, indeed. So, I mean, I think the Indy 500, that kicks off tomorrow, 11 o'clock Central USA time.
Scott Dixon is one of the best drivers never to get into Formula One.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a terrific competitor. He's a lovely guy as well.
But, you know, I think there are some young boys out there in that series now. Herter, much being talked about as possible bringing. I remember when he first...
He's the other one on the front row. I think so.
Yeah, he's on the front row. When he first arrived in Britain, he was at Donington Park due to test a Formula 4 car.
Yes.
Not for Richard Dutton, but if it wasn't Fortec, it was Carling, whatever.
Yeah.
And someone pointed out that he was in fact still 13, and he'd have to wait a month before he was 14.
But that felt like a long wait.
Yeah, it did.
They're just they're going to finish under the safety car here, aren't they? And congratulate Julian Thomas and Callum Lockie on doing an outstanding job. As I say, Lockie had 3 wins last weekend. He's got another one in the book today. Yeah,
there was a big HSCC meeting at Silverstone, wasn't there? Yeah, I'm afraid that is the problem. They only had the fast recovery vehicle to get that out.
Yeah.
And exactly with 53 seconds left on it, I think they're going to stick the checker out this time around.
I'm sure they will. And Dave Coyne hanging in second place, and
well done,
a podium for Mark Sumter in the Lotus Cortina.
It
nice
certainly looks that way. There are the Minis and the BMWs in the second part of the Crocodile. I'm not sure if they're going to show the checkered flag here. We better just look to see that. I know.
Are they going to trundle
they're
around?
They're going to trundle around
lap?
one more lap. That's a shame.
Yeah.
But an hour's an hour, and they're getting their hour on track. So there's.
Well, it's not as if there's a light, but we're almost close to the longest day, aren't we?
No, don't say that. We haven't even started thinking about having any decent weather in Britain.
I know.
I don't know, wherever you may be listening and watching around the world for this Masters Historic Festival from Brands Hatch, Andrew Marriott and Christopher Tate, we can tell you that Britain has had one of its worst ever springs for rain and storms and cloudy days. This is almost the best day we've had so far. Since about February, isn't it?
Did I read that in Devon it rained every day of the month, and yet the month before there was no rain, but it was just horribly cold all the time.
Unbelievably cold. Fantastic, a great run. Another one of the minis with Steve Jones there in his mini.
16th place, but
we'd not seen him racing so much, but he'd done very well.
I think he's got a podium in the class, hasn't he?
Come up through the field in quite a big way.
Yeah.
He was right towards the back. He's come up from 28th to 16th.
Yeah, but the star, of course, has been Padmore and Page with the 333 car up in 11th place overall in that mini.
In the red mini, I mean, really extraordinary. But of course, that's how it was in the day. Do we remember John Rhodes and John Handley in the factory Coopers? Painted the same way as the Cooper Grand Prix cars, in green with 2 white stripes down the bonnet. Yes, so I think we are trundling round to a checkered flag. I think I did just see a famous red helmet in a car, didn't I, Tiff?
Yeah, did you? He's
and there, I'm afraid, is the miscreant who caused that.
So he's been dragged back on the track.
Now, Nigel Greensall is the sort of driver coach and co-driver in that car. Alex Taylor, we're not sure who it was who dropped it after the pit stops, but anyway, we are now where we are, and Callum Lockie and Julian Thomas will bring their Falcon back across the line.
Well, disappointed for Fenton Hill, of course. But, well, a race of several different leaders.
Lots of excitement.
Great battles and sideways motoring, and Lotus Cortinas more or less waving wheels in the air.
Yeah.
And here they come down.
And I think this will be
towards
to the
checkered flag. Yellow flags waving there.
I'll tell you, one person who will have been extremely pleased to see how everybody was wearing their tyres out in this race today will be John Pearson of HP Tyres. That is the checkered flag, as we suspected. John Pearson of HP Tyres, who's the big supplier of Dunlop historic race tyres. So sadly, ladies and gentlemen, it did have to finish, I'm afraid, under a yellow flag with the safety car conditions. But we have seen some great racing in this Masters Pre-66 touring cars, and we will wait for the definitive results, but it certainly has been a convincing victory for Julian Thomas and Callum Lockie in this black Ford Falcon.
I think that's Callum, isn't it?
Yeah, and now they can shuffle themselves into a finishing order if they like, because they are no longer under the safety car's control.
Full day's racing tomorrow, because a little bit of practice still, but it's mainly racing all day long, isn't it? And I think you've got the timetable there. It's probably just worth
yes, it certainly
telling
is.
us what we've got.
Yes, they are all going back into
quite an early start as well, I think.
Yes, we very much look forward to you joining us tomorrow morning. We'll be on air again at around 9:45 tomorrow with the first race for gentlemen drivers, which is the Pre-66, equivalent to these saloon cars, but the GT cars. And that is a wonderful mix with everything from Ferrari GTO to Daytona Cobras, E-types, all manner of wonderful GT cars, class battles all the way down through the grid. That is an endurance race with pit stops, and
but
that's
let's just confirm the result here with Thomas and Lockie winning in the Falcon over the Dave Coyne Mustang. Roy Alderslade shown third in the Lotus Cortina. A lot of Lotus Cortinas. Balfe Ashton fourth, Attard and Ingram. Tom Ingram doing a great job. Fifth, Richard Dutton sixth, despite that lurid spin. Mark Martin in seventh. Then the Mark Hales, Ross Jones Lotus Cortina. And then all the way up to ninth, the Page Padmore Mini Cooper. And then the man himself, Tiffany Dell and John Spears, there in 10th place. 11th, the Irishman, Chauvelin and Cullen in their Cortina. Mark Sumpter in 12th place, having run right at the front. Owen and Dunham, and then Nathan Heathcote in the second of the Mini Coopers. The two Page brothers in 15th place. Steve Jones 16th, Clarkson and Smithies in 17th in their Falcon. And then that BMW from Henry Mailer, Streak and Streak, the brothers in Lotus Cortina, and then Melling and Minshaw in a Falcon 2 laps down, and then Glover and Green. Taylor and Greensaw, the one that got beached. Fenn and Hill ran at the front and led. Hall and Osborne, Sauter, the second of the BMWs. Wilmot and Farmer didn't go far in the Studebaker Lark Daytona. Soper and Mann, we expected to be the front runners. Early problem, no brakes. Naismith brothers, I suppose they're brothers. And then the Curly Solid Start Mini was the first of the retirements. But what a race it was.
What a race it was. And so we can look forward tomorrow to the gentlemen drivers to begin with. We will show you some of the Masters single-seaters, all sorts of eras, including a very nice Benetton, which will do some demonstration laps. The qualifying for the Minis, then the Masters historic sports cars, a 1 hour race, and those are wonderful cars, the big Lolas, the Chevrons, you name it. And after lunch, when the Minis get their race, 20 minutes of Mini madness, that'll be. And then the second round of the Masters Historic Formula One, which, if it's anything like today, should be a
lots
great
of McLarens
spectacle.
at the front of that.
Lots of McLarens. The second running out for the Equipe Libre, the nice GT cars, the British National Series invitation race, and they put on a nice show today. And then the second Masters Endurance Legends, and to top off the day, Sunday, tomorrow the 30th of May, here at Brands Hatch on the Grand Prix circuit, will be a race all for the Minis by themselves, which should be great fun.
Well, I think time, Chris, for us to say good evening to everyone. Thanks for joining us here on the live feed. Some terrific racing from the Masters Historic Festival. I expect much more again tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, and have a good evening.
Thanks very much, and good night. We'll speak to you and hear from you tomorrow.